All right, good morning. 42 minutes after 9 o'clock on this Storm Talk edition once again. Good morning to Angela and to Carrie. ZK is on already this morning. We've got Karen, Andrew. Hope all is well with you, Andrew. And Nancy, ready to go talking about summer. We'll get into that outlook in the coming days. Hello to Tracy and Sean and Ryan as well. Oh, Cheryl, don't want to forget you and Angie at the bottom of the list. As always, you guys can comment on our social media sides. I see a lot of your names every single day. One day we need to do like a meet and greet, right? With everyone from the blog. Wouldn't that be fun? Have a chance to meet everybody. Maybe have a chance for you guys to come see the room here, which, by the way, will be in use in about 10 minutes. So once again, I have to do a shorter blog today. I won't be able to talk very long. It's like a traffic jam this time of day, guys, to get in this room. Everyone wants in here. So in the evenings, the guys have it easy in the evenings because there's hardly anybody in the building. So they can talk for hours and hours and hours and do their comedy show, which I'm kind of jealous of. It'd be nice to have that much freedom and to talk. But unfortunately, in the mornings, it is a tighter schedule. I just want you guys to ever take offense to that or think that I'm ignoring you. It's just that everything is a much more bam, 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 bam on trying to get things knocked out of the hour. Excuse me. Hey, Ben, hope all is well. You want a studio tour? You know, I have done a couple here, just using my phone actually and just remoting in and just walking around the building. I haven't done that in a while, but you're right. I'll need to do that. Maybe I'll do it on time when it's obviously quiet. And an evening is always fun too, but I will do that. I'll have it on my list, I promise you. So hang tight, Ben. All right, we got a lot to cover in a short amount of time. I'm going to focus on the short term on the outlook here on the severity side of any thunderstorms, and then we'll come back around to the long term, and then we'll wrap things up. All right. So hopefully I'll answer your questions. Here's a live look there at once again 64 in front of Joe's Crab Shack, and looking at the mighty Ohio. Yep, still out of its banks. Not much has really changed there. Not a shocker on that end, right? So let's go through where we're at here on some other camera feeds. This is actually I-65 at the Rolling Fork in southern Bullock County near the Joe Prather. And, you know, this has improved a lot. On really Sunday into parts of Monday, we were seeing I-65. I mean, that water was right up to it. But as I mentioned before, this was some of the reconstruction that was done since the 97 flood. And I really think that construction was a huge payoff for them because it really kept the Rolling Fork from shutting down 65. You shut that down, you've got just so many problems on transportation and cargo and livelihood. I mean, there's a lot of things, emergency crews. So it looks like they may have resolved that. As long as we don't get another flood that would beat this one, we'll be all right. And these don't happen very often. I mean, it's been, 28 years since we got to this level. Maybe we'll have to wait another 28. Wouldn't that be nice or at all? Here's the Rolling Fork, by the way, in Boston on its way down, almost out of major flood stage. In fact, it should be by this afternoon. And then it should be within its banks by the time we head into late tomorrow night and early on Saturday. So some good news there for the Rolling Fork in Boston. The Salt River continues its drop as well. Should be out of action stage altogether by the time we head into late tonight and early tomorrow, and certainly solidly within its banks for the weekend. So for those who've been highly impacted by the salt, especially around Shepherdsville, improvements are happening by the hour now, and you'll have a much better weekend too, with nice weather to help on the cleanup side. The Kentucky River in Frankfort Lock, it's on its way down, out of flood stage, in fact. So no more flood warning for the Kentucky River as it is on its way down. Should be back to normal pool by Friday night. East Fork of the White River, well, anywhere on the White River, anywhere from Rivervale to Seymour, it has been a slower river to drop, but it is dropping, so that's good. Should be back within its banks sometime Sunday night or Monday for next week. Blue River at Fredericksburg, we mentioned this yesterday. It was already falling back at its banks, and sure enough, it's still there at just 5.5 feet. Very, very shallow river there, right? All right, McAlpin lower, 67.4. That started to fall yesterday, continues its fall. Ignore the 67.40. That's just a general time where it would be at 2 o'clock today. But pay attention to the line, and you can see that's the covers the whole weekend. That line does the whole dates and the graph there at the bottom. So that's the entire weekend you're looking at the bottom. So it will take until likely Sunday, if all holds as forecast, to get it back within its banks for Sunday. Again, that's McAlpin lower. Hopefully 111 will open back up here soon. And those love to go to the casino, that'll be opening up too after to do some cleanup, I'm sure. McAlpin upper 35.88 continues its drop of being just over 36 feet. should be back within its banks, or at least at a flood stage by the time we get into Sunday, but likely within its banks fully by the time we get into Monday. Monday is going to be a much easier Monday for us to get around, as most of the rivers will be back on their banks at that point. But as we've been saying, it's all about the cleanup and the mud that's left behind, the debris that's all over Waterfront Park and all the beaches area, the Transylvania Beach, heading up the 71 corridor, even on both sides of the river. There's just so much debris that has been washed up. That takes a while. Some of these things are massive. I mean, entire trees, refrigerators, appliances, tires, all that stuff has to be hauled away because it's a danger to anyone just walking around. So while we get the river within its banks, it really will not be to the point where you can go back down and enjoy it again for maybe another week after, as the cleanup will be big. And I'm sure we'll be talking more about the help that the community is going to be needing here on the cleanup aspect. Okay, there we go. That's the river stages as we stand now. Everyone sees. Once the water drops, there's going to be a random boat in the middle of the waterfall line. Yeah, I did see that. I think they were talking about there was going to be a crane or some type of large equipment, probably suburban towing. We may have to come in there and get the boat off the Great Lawn. But yeah, apparently there's a boat out there that we haven't seen yet. But we're about to reveal a lot of things here very soon. Okay, so what's ahead? Well, as we look at the river gauges, I want to show the overall map because I can't cover every river, but we're seeing more of the green dots. We're seeing more of the yellow or orange, indicating they're in a lower stage. We only have a few that are in major, and that's the Rolling Fork, which is about to get out of that status in a few hours. And then we got, of course, the Ohio River, because the flooding starts upstream in many cases, especially when it comes to Ohio. It starts back in Pennsylvania, Cincinnati. Once they recede, then we recede, then Evansville goes down, and then Paducah, and then eventually it still impacts all the way down to Louisiana. They will have higher water levels. So it's like a train effect of the receding process. But we are number 3 in line, and I think this weekend would be our turn to be completely at number 1 spot to get back to normal. Okay, so we do have some rain out there this morning. It moved exactly, modeling did great on this. There's just a wave of showers moved on by. Didn't hear any thunder, but you may have. Rolled into the area, about 1/4 of an inch of rain. I have 0.24, I believe, in my gauge at home, so it wasn't much. But we're not done. We got another clipper that is diving down today from the Midwest. There it is. This is the one that's got a little more of a kick to it. And we are going to get some heating today to allow for some instability. So the severe risk has been updated. This did not surprise me one bit that they pushed it up into at least some of our southern counties for I'm not sure where that is, for the slight risk. And the reason why it will not go much further north than that is that this is where your better wind fields are as it dives through Tennessee. Your better wind fields, or the tailpipe that these thunderstorms will need to have to maintain any strong intensity for a lengthy period of time anyway. That tailpipe is more going to be found southern Kentucky and Tennessee. There's not much of one for the rest of us. So what that means is that these thunderstorms, when they develop, they become bumper cars. They're going to pop on the radar. They'll feed off whether full, I almost said full, whatever full they can find, which if they hang around here long enough, they're going to find a few fuels. But anyway, food and fuel for them to feed off of. But once that's ate alive, like playing that game of Pac-Man, as soon as they eat all the little, what are those things are, power, pebbles, whatever they are. Anyway, once those are taken care of, there's nothing left, right? So that's exactly how these storms will develop today. They will move in, they will feed wherever they can real fast, fill their bellies up. And at that time, that's when they will be producing the heavy rain, gusty winds, maybe some small hail. Not worried about a tornado threat with this, but some high hail, gusty winds, you bet, could even get to warning level briefly. It wouldn't last very long for a warning. But as soon as that fuel is alive, there's no more fuel for them. There's no warm air advection. There's no surge of moisture flowing in with the low-level jet all night long like the previous severe weather events have had. This is it. So that's why this is not an alert day right now, because this is going to be a very brief window on anything strong and relatively isolated too, because we don't know how many of them will be able to survive in this environment. But this is not going to be an outbreak or anything like that. But at the same time, if you live, especially in central and southern Kentucky, just be weather aware. Your weather alarms and radios may go off this evening to account for maybe some stronger storms that may briefly produce some hail and gusty winds. Your higher threat is certainly down into Tennessee. In fact, when we break down the tornado potential, it's not exactly 0, but it's not enough to make it even to the minimum of 2%. So that's good. Looking at the damage and wind potential, roughly 55 to 60 miles per hour. it lines up where the slight risk is, more south, lower end here, and really the same with the hail, to be honest. It is a cold core system. It is quite cold above our heads. So you don't really have to have tall thunderstorms to be able to gain some hailstones out of that. Most of them will be small, pea-sized hail that'll come on through here. Okay, let's see. Mimi or Michelle, sorry. Good morning. I'm in shock. JCPS has school if we are under a flood warning. Yeah, I don't know. That's a whole other issue on how they're doing that with schools and the bus routes, Michelle. The news side is handling that. All I can do is forecast and talk about the river. Carrie, with us flood the Mississippi already is. Mississippi is running up. Now, it is a little less dramatic as you go down the line because a lot of that can get absorbed in its tributaries along its way. It'll be a little different if, for example, we just had flooding on the Ohio from what's happening in Pennsylvania. But if we have flooding happening over us, flash flooding, and we're getting flooding from Ohio, then we grow into a big nightmare and catastrophic type setup. And that's how the Ohio River Valley unfolded with this last event, is that not only did we get river flooding coming down, but we got our own on top of it. So for areas into the Mississippi, they really just have to battle the effects of our water just flowing on down. So they won't have as much of an issue or as significant. Okay, here we go. Futurecast. You can see as we get into about 10:30 this morning, we're back to some sunshine and we're starting to gain that fuel. The clipper dives in, plenty of fuel. A little bit of gold showing up. Most of it's your low-end fuel level of Cape. All right. Here comes the spin of the little low. It's going to be pushing in. As it does so, again, remember the game of Pac-Man. You'll see it actually eat away at the fuel as it moves in. So again, fuel is red. Here go the storms. They move in, chomp, 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 start eating away. And some of these could start be producing some mornings around 7 p.m. So we're going to say a window of about 5:30 or 6 to be ready for them to move in, rolling in from the west. And by the time we get to 11 o'clock news tonight, most of the thunderstorm part will be done. There could still be some showers around, but your severe risk will be over with because they've ate all the fuel. As far as rainfall amounts, and I'll show you that in a second, the only thing I'm going to caution you on is that Pac-Man, as Pac-Man rolls in, it is actually a mini low that'll be spinning. So as it spins across Kentucky, it actually gets to right here, not far from EKU, and it wants to slow down a bit. It'll linger right there near Marion County, Washington County, Kentucky, maybe Adair. It hovers for a couple of hours, and then it moves out. Why do I mention that? Well, it could allow for a bit higher of a rain total that may push you closer to the 1-inch mark because of the residency time it sticks around in that particular spot. Everywhere else, it's fairly progressive. But here, I'm not sure if it's exactly going to be there, but a lot of the data points to that spot, that it may get just a bit of a hang up there. I don't think it's going to be enough to cause river flooding to go back up, but it may slow down some of the creeks and streams just a bit before finally we kick this out of here. And we're done with it. Get ready for another chilly day on Friday, but beautiful. And we'll hold on to that nice weather even as we into Saturday, which would have been, of course, thunder over Louisville, but I won't depress y'all anymore. Here is the rain total forecast as it stands now. Very much a blotchy look because some areas will have higher rates. It could be over a ½ inch to maybe up to 1 inch, and some you will be barely at a quarter of an inch. It will be kind of the, again, back and forth bumper car action. So it just depends if they aim toward you or if they miss you. And you can tell, look how much of wave country is missed. Doesn't even get a drop out of this. And Louisville may be one of those that does not get a drop out of it. We'll be watching it hour by hour as we end this afternoon. Looking ahead, we mentioned the weekend is quiet. Now, there is a weak system early next week that tries to throw in a front Monday night and then tries to drop the temperatures back down briefly. And then as we head toward Easter weekend, the Euro and the other globals are not really in good agreement. There's this whole big battle right now of how many more systems will keep dropping in from Canada over our area, or will we get more systems rolling in from the Rockies in a repeated fashion? Don't know the answer to that. I just know that potential is there. So the extended forecast has very low confidence and a bit on the messy side. All right, let me get you your 10-day and then I'll get out of here. Any questions I can try to look at real quick before I run? Beautiful skies this morning. Yeah. I do need the Pac-Man sound, Andrew. You know, we have one on a graphic somewhere. I'll work on that. You know, the do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I need to go back to bed. Chase, shout me out. You're shouted. All right. Hello, Laura. Hope all is well. All right. Everyone seems to be in good shape. Just keep an eye on the forecast trends for tonight. with that low moves in. And again, for any possible brief warnings that can develop, mainly for wind and hail, we'll be watching it. Time period again, 5:30 to about, say, 10 o'clock tonight is a fair window to be on guard. And that's about the only weather jumbo we'll have for the next few days. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. I'll see you at 11 a.m. on the flip side.